Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome. And I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening on In Review. What is your news? In Review, what is your news? And this is Thursday night, the 7th of the 11th, the day after. They say the day after the tsunami, the day after what? What about the day after? And, this is a new day. I want to thank those who are joining me on Instagram, those joining me on Facebook, those joining me on YouTube, and of course on the overflow on TikTok as well. The topic tonight is the changing face of America. That's a general topic tonight. The changing face of America. But at the same time, there are things which we want to look at tonight. Looking at the interest rate cuts. The big belly man has dropped the interest rates at 4.75, and also the new leader of the Conservative Party, which is Kemi Badenoch. How did she fare at the Commons, the first PMQ time? That is Kemi Badenoch, and also we're going to have a reaction to Donald Trump winning the recent general election in the USA, because that is something which is big at the same time. But I want to invite my guest tonight. I've got Sir Garry Graham. How are you doing, sir?
I'm
Are you in
doing
the
well,
state?
my
Good, good.
friend.
You're not in. Are you in the States or something like that?
I'm waiting in the wings for Mr. Trump to give me a call.
Are you waiting for a call? You're waiting for a call. Okay, you're waiting for a call. Well, let's invite. Uh, 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 I'm not going to say a stranger, but a friend of the show, Kima Allen. How are you, Kima?
Well, thank you. It's been a very interesting week so far. So I think it was very historical week, if you want to put it that way. So it's much to discuss this evening, but lovely to be back on the show.
Yeah.
Been here several times before, so
Yes. Yes.
really
Yes.
nice.
I like what you said about historical. What would you say is a historical week?
Well,
The historical.
we're gonna be talking about Kenny. So I think
Yes.
yeah, I think she's been, of course. I know she wouldn't like to be labeled as the first black, but you can't go on, you can't not mention that. Of course, we now have four leaders for the Conservative Party who are women, and we have two ethnic minorities, and of course one black woman who's the leader of the Conservative Party. So we'll touch on that, but I think that's a very historical moment here in the UK that we should be seen very, very proud of. And of course, in the United Kingdom, we got almost there, didn't we? Almost,
Yeah.
we almost had the first female president, but it didn't
Sorry, I
happen
mean in the USA, in the USA, in the
in the
USA.
USA. Yeah, in the
Yeah.
USA. So, but that was just watching the campaign. I think was
Mm, mm.
it was very very interesting how many people obviously put a lot
I,
of hope
and one
in.
and one can say that it was even historical still, even though she didn't. I mean, we're going to it.
Yeah.
It was historical still. Even though she wasn't, she didn't win. But yeah, and I just want to say that even ladies and gentlemen, even this Saturday night, I'm going to be having these two Jamaican racers, reggae racers in cars. Saturday night they're going to be come on. That's going to be a good one. 10 o'clock p.m. Saturday night, and Sunday also. I'm going to be having a Mr. Uh, Driving Strategic Change with Remiel Mitchell. They're all drivers, but he's more into project management as well. It's going to come on this Sunday, November the 10th as well. So it's going to be a very packed week as well. As much as evening over there on TikTok. Garry, how are you? Listen, the 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 big one of the big thing that came out this week is the big belly man. Yeah. Kima, I don't know if you know who's the big belly man. You know
No.
the the big belly man has dropped interest rates, man. UK interest rates. You know,
Well,
the bank governor, the governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey said, drop rates to 4.75. We have been following this one.
it's interesting. It's interesting
Yeah,
that he did that. When did he do it? Tell me, when did he do it? Before or after Trump's win?
it was after.
What is
It was
after?
today.
Exactly. It was
Yeah.
after.
Yes.
It was after,
Go on.
right? And if
Yes.
you notice, what was very significant, what happened on Wall Street when Trump
Everything,
won?
everything bouncing up,
Exactly, exactly. And I think that is very, very significant. That Wall Street gained as soon as Trump it was signal that Trump had won. Wall Street rallied, and it was also significant after that the Bank of England here cut interest rates. So everything, I think there's a connection. There's something going on. There is something happening in the cosmos. Let me use there is something happening in the cosmos, all based on Donald Trump winning. I don't know where it's going. I have no idea what may be happening.
Yeah.
I think they may be signaling something somewhere.
Mm.
But
Kima, okay. The Labour Party and the Chancellor is saying great and so like that, but the isn't that the Conservative have given over to Labour Party a very stable economy? Kima, what do you think about that?
Well, they have, and of course there was this. The argument has been, of course, the Conservative has had put there was a pretty much a stable economy, and the Conservative has put Britain back on the path of growth. So it was already projected that we were going to grow the economy from the Conservative view. So they're left in a really, really good position already. But then, of course, when you listen to the budget, you keep hearing about this 22 million black hole, isn't it? That was there.
Yes.
And then, of course, Rachel will now have to find 40 billion for public services. So you think to yourself, well, government always have debt. They're always going to be debt. Even when they leave, there will be some level of debt. It's really how you manage it. And to make it sound as if, okay, there was limited growth. But the problem that you're hearing now is that because now they've borrowed more to pay for public services, it means that the growth that was projected to have happened since the Conservative government have left government, it means the growth is going to be slower now. So that is what the issue is now. But I mean, they said you've got to prioritize public service, one to watch to see exactly what happens there. But of course, for me, there's a bit of a doubt how quickly that we could grow. But you can't pay for everything, so you've got to prioritize. And of course, I don't know whether when the Labour government came in first, they quickly decided to obviously pay doctors more, pay teachers more. And of course, now they need to find that money, isn't it? Because you've already committed money elsewhere now, but then you realize that you still have other areas of the public services to pay for.
Yeah, because what they said is that the bank cut interest rates 4.75% from 5% in a move that has been widely expected, but it indicated that while the extra spending outlined in the budget would initially boost growth, measures such as rising the caps on bus fares and VAT on private school fee will push prices up at a faster rate. So Andrew Bailey said rates were likely to continue to fall gradually from here, but caution they would not be cut too quickly or by too much.
So ultimately, it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? So you were saying you did people would end up having, because interest rates are going to rise, right? Is like people are going to end up having to spend more on things that they probably wouldn't have had to. And of course, things like private school, for example, now becoming an issue, isn't it? Because now it's really so difficult to even get school places for people in state school. And then a number of students going to leave private school now and then having to find spaces in the private school. And of course, there hasn't been a back way to fill those spaces.
Yes. Good evening, Mira Jiran, international human rights activist. How are you doing today, sir?
Good. Thank you very much for inviting me. Good evening.
Fantastic. We were just awesome. Yeah, we were just talking about the interest rates in the UK here. It's dropped to 4.75, and we're alluding that the Labour government receive a very stable economy, save for the ghost 22 billion black hole situation. Don't know what your take on that.
I think I told you the last time also, like, it's not the Labour victory. Basically, it was the split in the Tory party. So, I would say the people were not really excited to bring back Labour to power.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you're looking at the proportional voting system, like, it's very clear. And also, when they come to power, like, whatever they promises, they are failing to do, especially the pension system, right? So they were like, I would say, like, Labour Party is an old party, but the Labour administration who came with the current Prime Minister, I would say they're prepared to win, but they are not prepared to administer. That is the problem we are seeing now. That's what they are struggling to deliver what they have promised during the election campaign, and now they have
Yes.
become very unpopular. But still they are on the ground because the parties has been split. So still they can ride. But I hope that the new conservative leader will catch up the difference between reform and the conservative, because it's very tough now to go as two separate political parties. Because still now, if you see all the opinion polls, reform is like, they are increasing their popularity within their base, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Well,
I think it's
well,
going
well,
to be a very tough ride.
yeah. Well, talking about talking about the new leader of the Conservative Party. She had her first PMQ question time yesterday, and I'll just play a quick bit here of it of Kemi Badenoch. There she is.
Of this Remembrance Sunday. As leader of His Majesty's opposition, I will be taking a different approach to the last opposition by being a constructive opposition. And so I would like to start by congratulating President-elect Trump on his impressive victory this morning. The Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary met him in September. Did the Foreign Secretary take that opportunity to apologise for making derogatory and scatological references, including, and I quote, Trump is not only a woman-hating, neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath, he is also a profound threat to the international order. And if he did not apologise, will the Prime Minister do so now on his behalf?
Mr. Speaker, there will be many issues on which the Leader of the Opposition and I disagree, but there will be issues that do unite this House on national security and Ukraine, and I do look forward to working closely with her on that, and I will provide her with the information that she needs to discharge her duties. That's the right thing for the country, and it's far more important than party politics. And the Foreign Secretary and I did meet President-elect Trump just a few weeks ago for dinner for about a couple of hours, and we discussed a number of issues of global significance. It was a very constructive exercise.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister did not distance himself from the remarks made by the Foreign Secretary, and I'm very sure that President Trump will soon be calling to thank him for sending all of those North London Labour activists to campaign for his opponent. Given that most of his cabinet signed a motion to ban President Trump from addressing Parliament, will the Prime Minister show that he and his government can be more than student politicians by asking the Speaker to extend? Can they show that they can be more than student politicians?
Order. That's the end of it. What's your reaction to Kemi Badenoch? And I go to Kema first. What's your take? And ladies and gentlemen, Kema is a HR specialist, political analysis as well. Kema, what's your take on your reaction to Kemi Badenoch, the new leader?
Well, she set her stalls out, and she set the stall as to how she's going to continue. So for me, I think it's fantastic to see her at the dispatch box today, yesterday. And obviously, she's doing what she said she was going to do, which is to hold the government to account. And she really picked the topic this time to really go against Starmer and some of the key issues. Farming was one of them that really a lot of people are really upset about in terms of what they done in the budget to take the inheritance from some of the people who are families farming background. But also, it was very much clear in terms of her direction going forward. So it's very, very pleased to see her really holding the government to account. And yes, it's really exciting to see what's going to happen. She's really going to continue to keep the pressure on Labour Party to really come up with some answers. And I think if you listen to it, she was really pressing Starmer to really answer some of those questions, which he's dodged quite a bit. But I think now he knows that it's not going to be smooth sailing at Prime Minister's questions.
Yeah. Muirhead, what's your take on the new leader of the Conservative Party?
Okay, the last time that I was talking about two alternatives, like at the moment, like with Kenny and Robert, right? So I think I have, if I looking at first Prime Minister's question, I think I feel like I have underestimated. Now once she comes to the main stage, which we can see she's like. I would say she's going to be a great threat to the Labour Party, but still we have a problem. I said no always, but she's very confident. I think
she's very confident. Is that what you said?
Yes, she is very confident. You looking at, because I'm a political strategist, like as a campaign strategist, I can tell. She's it's going to be a hard, very hard path for. Case down. I can definitely tell. You will see, because of first PMQ, it's really showing that it's a nervous moment for any leader who comes on the first PMQ. You know that. Although in the opposition they have more ammunition to attack the people in the ruling party, but still the first day it's very nervous for any leader. But if you're looking at the way she handles, that says that she is very confident, and I feel like it's like I feel it, because I feel like I'm underestimated her capacity. I feel like she will be the first black prime minister and the woman prime minister, black woman prime minister, as well as black prime minister for the British. I feel like that she will be.
Well,
I don't know. It's too early to say.
Before I go to Garry, there's a couple pictures here which I show, and there she's at the cabinet, her first shadow cabinet there as well, and she's got the people around her, and when you look at her right there, I see a picture right there of somebody fitted in right, she just look like she just fitted right there, Garry, what's your take on Kemi Badenoch and her first PMQ?
Well, I mean, as I've last week I would still maintain my stance that Kemi I applaud her and I wish her the best. I just think that the Conservative Party at this moment in time needed a bit of more stability, and even if the change was far too quick. I think the change was too quick. However, they've done the change. I applaud her for being able to stand in the common and to do, whatever was needed at the time. Obviously, there was always a first to everything. I mean, like Tony Blair when he came on board, or like John Major when he started. All of these guys, they always had their first time to do whatever they needed to do, just like yourself. You had your first time doing your Sylbourne TV, whether you failed or flopped. Whether you succeeded or you flopped, I'm not too sure, but you're still here.
Yes.
So obviously, for Kemi has she did well. She presented well. She asked relevant questions. and she placed her foot forward. I just wish her the best because I know she's not going to have it easy. The honeymoon will soon be over. The honey on the moon will soon dry up. And the moon is going to be very rough, as we all know. There's hills and gullies and all them kind of things on the moon. So whether or not she succeeds, is there to be seen. I am not too sure. I will say this. I am not too sure if the country and or even still the Conservative Party will see and allow Kemi to go before the country as the next prime minister in the next general election. I'm not too sure about that. But we'll wait to see what happens. We'll just wait to see what happens. Because everybody allowed, it was a parliamentary party that allowed Rishi to step up to the plate to be the prime minister at the time. He was not the elected one. He was selected. He was selected.
A bit like Kamala Harris.
Yes, and the country did not elect Rishi, and the country was not ready for an Asian to take it. Even though I applaud Rishi, and Rishi presented well, he was placed in a hard position at a very rough time, but he brought back stability and accountability as well as credibility back to the office of the prime minister. And I just think that it was sad. It was very sad that the country did not go along with him, because he, at the same time, he was honest enough to say that if he was allowed to continue, taxes would go up. He said that.
Yes.
And the Labour Party didn't say that. They said quite the opposite. And now they are having to do the very same thing that probably Rishi would have had to do anyway. And everybody now are up in arms.
Well,
I'm just waiting now to see if the Labour Party is going to have a very rough time with the country.
What's your reaction to what Garry says? Came out like saying that it's going to be a rough ride for Kemi, and doesn't see her as a potential prime minister, that she's going to be hounded out, if anything.
Well, I don't think that's the case. She obviously has a long-term plan and a strategy, which she's played out very well during the campaign. Remember, there was 5 candidates, and the members voted for her. They didn't vote for her because she was a Black woman. They voted for her because she had the right message. And I think that's the thing that people are really, really missing, that ultimately people would end up voting for the person or the party that they feel resonates most to what they're saying. And I think if Kemi sticks to the issues, which is obviously the economy, which is obviously immigration and health, and dealing with those issues rather than identity politics and culture wars, which she's already set her stall out very early on in terms of what her values are and her principles are. So she now says, okay, we've talked about that. We're going back to what ideal conservatism about. Once we've established the playing field, then we will talk about real policies that impact the whole country. And I think now she's got a long-term plan. She knows it's not going to be easy ahead, because people like quick answers and quick solutions, but she's not playing a game which is a short game for now. She's playing a long haul game. And if you look at how she presented her case during Prime Minister's question, you will see that she really has she's already started carefully thought out how she is going to deliver and ensure that the Conservatives are in the next win the next government. So I think, I feel a lot more confident with Kemi. A lot of people were saying that they don't think that she was quite capable, but she's very witty, she's very sharp. And I think given the opportunity, there's a lot of the Conservative people who've actually voted for her. And that's one of the things I think differentiates her from Richie. A lot of people who were members of the Conservative Party at the time, myself, was very, very felt a little bit disgruntled about the fact we didn't get the opportunity to vote for a leader. I mean, the whole point of being part of the Conservative Party, you get to vote for the leader. There's no point in the MP selecting the leader for us. I think a lot of people felt somewhere about that. And so now with Kemi now, it's the party faithfuls who's voted for her. And those people will now go out and knock upon the doors because they know that they've got somebody who they've put there, not the MPs.
What do you say about that, Jared?
Yeah.
You're asking me? I'm asking you what's your take, your reaction to the point there before we move on regarding Kemi.
Yeah, I know that Garry is very pessimistic when it comes to these touching the final line. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is this. Now, if you're looking at the Conservative parties, the last decade, like 2005, they came back into business, but they didn't get the power. But 2010, they got the power. But 2020, after 2020, because it's always, you have to understand that when a political party is in power for a long period,
yes,
and the people will go for a change, that is the only ammunition will be given to the opposition to looking for a change. You understood that? So the time where Rishi was there, it's one is like he had enough, he had the crack within the party, like his reform, right? The other one is like people have saw it too long, So now what happens is people are thinking they made a wrong decision because of it too long. They made the wrong decision of bring back labor into power. So that unpopularity is now it's there. It's very clear. If you're looking at all the opinion polls, it's very clearly stating. So now it's a good opportunity for Kemi because Kemi is not parachuting into the party maybe like having about 1 or 2 years within before the general election. Next one, she got a a decent time frame. So that is very good enough for her.
I mean, it's a bit like when David Cameron came on the scene. When David Cameron came on the scene, and I recall I was at the that time when he spoke without scriptless, and it took 4 years, and he built himself, isn't it, ready for that election. So after a while, you'll see it like a common knowledge for Kemi to be there. But anyway, there's big things happening here at the same time.
If you look at David Cameron and Kemi's both, like they got a good timeline. That's what Cameron got a good timeline to build himself within the party. But she also got a good timeline, and now I think she can be able to build. It doesn't matter about we always thinking about black and the white and all, but did you ever thought American will decide? American voted for a a black president. I don't think it was the wrong time. Rishi was not lucky enough because he also took the election a bit early, and also he didn't go for a certain patch up with the split groups and all that. Those are the mistakes he has done.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of debates about Kemi. I've seen on my timeline or so something she has said, something she has not said, and you see people are trying to be very trigger happy. But but one thing I realized about Kemi, and of course I'll do my plug right here. That's me and Kemi there, some years ago, and that me and Kemi 2005, 2008. Actually, we're at the 2009 in Brixton when I organized a Yes We Can event for the American election inauguration of Barack Obama. I don't know if you were there, Kemi. Kema.
I think I might have been, yes.
Yeah. I organized a big event there. 2009, January the 20th, when Barack Obama was to be inaugurated. So we had a massive thing. So they came down. Even Chucker came down as well. Simon Woolley was there as well, and blah blah blah. And somebody was messing with me, and I said, "Don't touch my MPs," because those two guys were they were both prospective parliamentarians, at that time. So wish you all the best. Wish you all the best. Wish you all the best. And yes, and I wish Kamala Harris all the best. Yes, as well. But anyway, let's. But the big thing that happened a couple of days ago, the 2005, is this major election in America, and it is fascinating that I had to find this video to play. I can't play too much. Next thing I'm gonna be, if you see the video has been taken down, but I really love that song. I don't know about anybody, but I love that song. So, and I'm not an American.
But no, it's the right tone, isn't it? It just is the right tone for him. So yeah, I do like the song as well.
Listen, what's your reaction to the to the win? Let's go for you, Muirhead. What's actually, I saw you doing some serious projection. You had the figures there. I was looking at it. You're really close. Tell us about it, Muirhead, because I saw you there. I was watching you last night, a couple nights ago.
I was very closely working with some of the Trump's, the campaign associates. I'm a bit of interested since 2016. We were very much interested about, the Republicans leading, actually it's Conservative Party and Republicans, we are centralized, basically we are very much closer. That's right. So then, what happened in 2020 election? This is the experience I have seen from Donald Trump. Now, if you're looking at Donald Trump, he was a businessman. He was a very successful businessman, right? And he wanted to become the president, and nobody ever expected that he will win the 2016 election, right? And he won. He won almost 30 states. He got 30 states. That's the best party. They got 30 states. Although he was behind the popular vote with Hillary, he made a surprise victory in the 2016 election. Then he was doing, only thing is the world is not, Trump is taking himself out of America. He don't want you don't want to be United States to be the world policeman. He wanted to, I would call Trump as I would call him, he's an economic gangster. That's how I can call him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's very much interested on economy rather than poking into noses, because he saw that many things. For example, you just looking at what's happening in Afghanistan. For 30 years, nothing has happened. Only the American people tax money has been gone into Afghanistan, but the people who rule the Afghanistan only spindle the money. Nothing was happened for 30 years, billions of dollars. Okay, so that's a decision. Before he was losing the last 2020 election, he took he made a mediation, a dialogue in Qatar, and he gave the decision. Okay, we are leaving, right? But he gave the time frame is 1 year. But very unfortunately, what Joe Biden did when he won the election, he made the blunder by within 4 months. He took the soldiers out. That made a lot of issues. We have seen that what was really happened. Okay.
Yeah.
But in 2020 election, right? This is a very important thing. A lot of people everybody was thinking Trump was very adamant to be the president of USA.
Yes.
Because I was observing, I was with them, so that's what I know that. Most of because of his anti-establishment, the global world, especially these European, especially NATO, the European powers, they don't want Trump to continue for another 4 years. So entire mainstream media, everybody was against, nobody don't wanted Trump to win again, right, on the second term. So when, he made, I think I told the last time also, he made one mistake, one fault, which was during the COVID pandemic period, okay, people will vote on postal, right? Trump was giving more campaign on the normal traditional campaign, but Biden team worked on the postal campaign. But you know what happened? I'll tell you that. This is what Trump was very much adamant on, saying that something really went wrong in that election in 2020, right? Because if you're looking at Europe, if you're looking at since 1900 up to 2020, most of the time the US population voted like 55, 57, 58, maximum 60, right? Or like 60.8 or something like that, right? But in 2020, 66% of people, more than 66.70, I think. I
Yes.
forgot that real value. Okay, I think I have it. Okay. So, in 66.6%, 60, that means almost 67
Yes.
voted, in that election, right? Now, the question is this, right? Now, if you're looking at every time, it was like 60, 61, 54, then suddenly it went up to 60,
Mm.
66, right? Which says that if you're looking at, for example, Obama in 2012, 2008, 131 million people voted, right? In 2012, 129 million voted. In 2016, when Trump was contesting, 136 million people voted. But
Mm.
in 2020, right, 158 million people voted, right? Now, current 2024 election, now there are two states like Nevada and Wisconsin, Arizona, still not completed,
Still out.
but there are,
Yeah.
yeah, there is still to come. But
Mm.
if you're looking at the values, like I think I'm still not sure that how they have calculated. Are they calculated already voted into the poll numbers, or are they still waiting for the
What,
Nevada and after another
what, what,
complete?
what, are,
But
what are you saying? You're saying in 2020, 158.
yes, 158 in 2020.
So how much,
Now,
how much are you saying in 2024 then? You
now
think?
I think it could be 141 or 146. We
Yeah.
still, I'm not sure, but 146 is maximum because I'm
Yeah.
including the Nevada and Arizona's current onto
Yeah.
the polling numbers plus the waiting one. Together is 146, right?
Okay.
But
Okay.
what they're saying is, let me finish it. What they're saying is
Yeah.
this. Now 2020, right? Now, for example, in 2020, what do you call in 20? What do you call that? Hold on. In 2022, 161 million people has registered for voting, right? That's
Yeah.
161 only. Like I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what's the current 2024. But
Mm.
in 2020, 168 million people has registered for vote. That is the only time. If you're
Mm.
looking at the statistics, the only time the vote registration has been increased and the polling numbers also increased, right?
Yeah.
That's the place it was making a fishy things, like what happened, like people who don't want to vote, they went and they got
Yeah.
registered, like they go to the people who never voted, asked them to get registered, like
Yeah.
they played a like a
What time I've got to get the other guys them to come to say something, Murid. No disrespect.
yeah, yeah,
Um.
yeah.
Yeah. Kima, what's your reaction to the elections?
Well, it's just fascinating, isn't it? This is Trump's second win, which is, of course, the 40, um,
45, 47.
45, 47. So it's, great to say that America's voted, and they voted they voted undeniably, isn't it? There's so many of them come out to vote, and they win the Senate, he's won the House as well, and then obviously he's got his own seat as well as president of the United States. So it's a fantastic win for him.
Yes.
But I think it speaks a lot about where the direction the United States are going. And really, I think more so, he really communicated to people who felt that they have been isolated or perhaps haven't been talked, um, perhaps talked down to, or haven't been listened to by the wider media in terms of what their concerns are. I've heard some people talking about some places which is obviously not California, not New York, those areas. These issues are pretty much more closer to home. The issues around, of course, bread and butter, food on the table. There's issues around drugs that hasn't been addressed as well. And Trump has actually picked up that. And of course, immigration being a big, big issue, and jobs as well, where some people are feeling that their jobs have been shipped away, and they're not creating as much jobs. So I think Trump really spoke to those people, those families, and really prioritized these issues, and people really understood him. So I think he was able to do that. I think on the side of Kamala, a lot of people was hoping that we've had the first Black woman president, or the first woman president as it is. And I think, some people, I felt was turned off by that.
Yes.
Because people don't want to vote for somebody because of their race or their background. They want to vote for somebody because they know that person is going to deliver for them, be able to understand their issues and really work on their behalf. So I think in some ways, although it would have been a historic moment, people wanted more than just to say, vote for me because I'm the first woman to ever take the job. I'm not saying that Camilla wasn't qualified for the job, because obviously she's been a attorney general and of course president. So really, she actually does have the experience. But it's more than that, isn't it? It's about making sure you connect to people and not just a small demographic. It's the whole country that you need to connect to, right? So there's no point isolating people who are down in the deep south of those areas, that Michigan and those really areas, those areas that you really need to connect to. So I think she struggled with that, but I think it's a fascinating way now to see the direction in terms of where people are going, that it's not the mainstream media anymore that people are really paying attention to and are listening to. People have their own means now.
They listen to the Joe Rogan. They listen to
exactly. I was at a meeting this week with somebody from the BBC, and I was just saying, what? One of the things that makes me gutted is that I have to pay the TV license every month because I don't even watch the BBC. And she was like, said to me, of course, now more people listen to BBC Sounds. It's more the podcasts that people are listening to, and traditional TV, people aren't paying any attention to it. So it tells you really, it means it's difficult really to gauge what really going on in people's minds and stuff.
I'm gonna come back to you on some of the reasons why Kamala failed. But Garry, what's your initial reaction and to this election? We have been talking a lot, but what's your reaction to the Trump win?
Let me start by saying this, that you and I've been with you for a longer period of time than Muhid and Kemi. Kima. So we've spoken a lot on this, and I was really getting into what Muhid was saying until he just took the big machete and just chop him up. And tell him.
I'll go back to Muhid.
So it was interesting. It was very interesting to listen to what he had to say. But I think at the same time, I think that I stayed up quite late on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. I was up until probably about 3:30.
Yes.
And when I saw Donald Trump, I think around that time, when the figures started coming in, he was 158, I think. Either 153, 158, and Kamala was just on 30. In my head, I'm just saying it's a done deal, and it's not surprising that almost the whole of America turned red because the people spoke. The people spoke, and it's interesting because the media, if you listen to social media and you watch the news on the television, what was being given by the pollsters? What was really being said? The pollsters were all saying it's neck and neck.
Neck and neck, yes.
Almost every news item or whoever you listen to, Al Jazeera, CNN, ABC, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, everybody was saying that had any kind of expertise on this thing, it's neck and neck, neck and neck. Well, it certainly wasn't neck and neck, was it?
No.
because Trump stomped home. Trump really stomped home. And he's
got popular vote as well. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, even one of the states, particularly Georgia. Now look what Georgia did to Trump in the last election. You would have thought this time around that Georgia would have turned blue, but it didn't. It changed to red. There is something very strange that's going on in America right now, and I think that the world needs to take note. The world needs to take note that America. Trump spoke strong. he spoke of strength to some extent, and Americans, that's what they love. They love to know that somebody speaks of strength, somebody projects themselves just like, and he is my favorite, one of my favorite presidents of all time, which was Ronald Reagan. When Ronald
Yeah.
Reagan, known as the great orator, he is the one that spent the most on defense at the time to bring America up to the strength in which it has now. And I
Yes.
think that's what Americans love. That's what Americans want to hear. They want to know that their leader is strong, their leader projects strength, and that they're the leaders of the world. Up until Barack and Biden, that's completely disappeared. And I think
Yes.
the Americans were very, very disappointed about that.
Yeah. Muirhead, what do you think is the what was the why was the message of Kamala not connecting, if anything, vis-a-vis
No,
Trump?
no.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I have to just to tell you that in after 2020 election, right,
Yeah.
when Trump lost, every social media, Twitter, like mainstream media, everybody was not giving any attention for the Trump team to tell that what was really happened there. Okay, that time I was like watching, like we have like especially Newsmax. That is the only one which has been given right around up to today, has given the space for the Trump and their people to they were prepared for another campaign, another election, right after losing the first 2020. They planned it everything. They started. Everybody wanted 2024. They wanted to win. That was a long project they started. Okay,
Mm.
so nobody was given up anything because I was watching everything, right? Okay, they use most of the people are using podcasts, like and communicating each other because they have been totally isolated, right? Okay, even Trump was using Trump's people, like many people are using, right? Especially I can mention Newsmax is a wonderful one. They have done a job, but I'll tell you this: Kamala Harris, if you're looking at this election result, she can be the next U.S. president in 2028, right?
Mm.
A lot of people will not accept my projection, okay, but I can tell you, right? This time the people have made because it's a long campaign, and also
Yes.
if you look 2016 and 2020, Trump increased his popularity, right? He never decreased his popularity. He was increased 0.60 increased popularity, right? But Kamala Harris was landed, it was like, if she would have been given like about 2 years before, okay, you will be the next presidential candidate, then she had a very good time space to give a very good fight. Sometimes she might win, or sometimes she might lose with a very fraction of margin. But if you're looking at with this just 81 days of a political campaign, and she has done decently very well. If you looking at it's not a big loss. Say Trump got 51 and she got 47. Like I think it's
Yeah.
about 3 points different between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, right? Only the battleground state decides the winner, right? So Trump overturned the battleground states compared with 2020, and he won. But the same thing. If you're looking at the battleground states, it was very very fraction of margin. It's not very close like the last time, but
Yeah.
it can be overturned. Okay, but if you're looking at Kamala Harris after the post lost election lost speech, she has been very clearly told that she's going to make a comeback. Right
Mm.
now, she's going to make a comeback. Means she's going to be. I think from tomorrow
So,
onwards,
so
or maybe like
you think Kamala is going to be positioning herself for a return?
yes, definitely, because that message was very clear. Her message is very clear. She's
Yeah.
going to come back because why she's going to come back is she found herself that within just 81 days of time, and she has given okay, it was everybody was very much worried like what will happen to the election result. Okay, will it Trump win or Harris will win? That's the message around the entire
Okay.
world was talking.
Okay.
But
Kema, what?
That
Sorry.
message clearly stated,
Yeah.
very clearly stated, that last election results clearly stated it.
Yeah.
81 days of campaign, Kamala Harris can be able to
Yeah.
overturn if she go for a longer campaign. I think she's ready for that. That's what she said.
Kame, what's your take on the future for Camilla?
I think as Mahid said, that she, her speech to me came across as if she wants to give it another go.
Yeah.
I think it's right down to the Democratic Party if they would, because obviously she'll have to go to the primaries and
Go
go
to that road.
through
Yeah.
that process as
I
well.
want to stop you right there. I think the Democrats may be beating themselves that they should never ever ceremonially appoint someone. They should go to the primary and get them through very thick and thin. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think so, and I think if she goes to the primaries, she would actually build up that momentum
Yes.
and really begin to get some grassroots support, which is what
Yeah.
something that she didn't have. And then again, a lot of United citizens, they spent a lot of time before they got to know her. Although she was in
Yes.
as vice president, a lot of people really didn't really get to know her like they would have known Donald Trump as much, because although she's really much behind the scenes, is always and she was always pinned against Biden all the time, so she wasn't able to separate herself in
Yeah.
terms of create her own policies and what she's going to do.
And Mike Pence, many people didn't know Mike Pence, I must say. Many people didn't know Mike Pence that much, really. He was always behind the scene there, behind Trump.
Exactly, it's always much that sort of behind the scene thing. So I think she would be able to come back, but of course, as Marie said, she would have to take some time to really speak to the public and get to
Yes.
know and sort of build that momentum for herself.
And of course, she won't. And of course, they won't be Trump. Well, unless the other Trumps, them come along. Eric Trump, Donald Trump
So
Jr.
you've got is it JD Vance?
And Vance. Vance.
He is dynamic though. So
Yeah.
he is. Yeah.
But I think the sky is the not the limit. It's the start for her. Garry, what's your take about Kamala Harris? There are many discussions going around whether she's black or not black or so. I don't get into these sort of things. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Personally, I don't know. I mean, there is thought that she's positioning herself, and she would even probably think of running for presidency. I don't know about that. I don't know. I said I won't. Never say never, or never say that the person is not. But I can't see her being a strong president anyway. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if she chooses, then fair dues. I mean, who am I? She doesn't even know I exist anyway.
Well, the fact that Trump came back tells me that it is possible. She just probably need to change a few things about
her messaging. Her
messaging, yes, exactly. I think that's what it is, and really connect to the people on the level that they are. I think she spent a lot of time talking about family issues and the abortion, which is really, if you think about it, it was very low on the Americans' priorities. I mean, they need to be talking about the economy.
Food, the food in my belly and the gas and stuff like that.
So she needs to have probably a new strategic team to advise in terms of what to prioritize. But I think that's where she went wrong.
But she didn't. She never had any policies for herself anyway. She didn't. She always piggybacked on Biden's policy, and that's not. I mean, that's not what people want to hear.
And that's what her challenge was, because when people asked her, okay, how would you differentiate yourself from Biden? She couldn't. And perhaps because it was such a short time, she didn't really have enough time to think about, what are the policies I'm going to be presenting to the people. So,
Yeah. Well, my
one thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
One thing is I can tell you that, if you're looking at Kamala Harris, she was the vice president, right? But within the last 81 days, if you're looking at her campaign, she got an attraction from the Democrats. Democrats are attracted. It's a big fight. But compare with Trump and Harris, Trump did the same thing after 2020 election. He started to rally around all the Republicans who it's like I would say that it is not something like a GOP party supporters. He made like a Trump supporters. That's what I saw. Everything like what was been after 2020. Everything was cut off. We were seeing everything. So it was Trump supporters he rallied around that. That's what he won the primary. I think that the same strategy has to be followed by, what do you call Kamala Harris, because she, within 81 days, she got a special, supporters for only for Harris. So that is more enough for her to start up and going into the primaries and get the ticket for the 2028.
What do you think the type of Trump is gonna be, the type of leadership is gonna be? You think he's gonna have the Twitter or the Truth Social? Kima, what do you think the type of Trump presidency will be? Is gonna be a bit different from the last. What do you
Well,
foresee?
I don't think it will be much different, and I think that was just one of the reasons why people voted for him, because they knew what he was like before, isn't it? They knew that he was going to be he's going to be delivering on the key issues that they really want him to, which is
Yes,
immigration, foreign policy, and
the
and
economy.
the economy. So I think that's why people
Mm.
voted, because they know what it was like underneath him. Of course, there's a lot of noise around him. He says a lot of things that sometimes you shoot from the hip in terms of what some of the things that he says.
Mm.
And people, could be very disrespectful on some levels, even crass, but it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, once people are able to go and buy the food that they need and look after their families, I think ultimately that's what it comes down to.
One of the things that I would like to say though is that it's a sensitive time at the same time for different persons in the state, because they really take it to heart. I saw a lady was screaming. Somebody sent me a video of this lady screaming, and so Gary, what would you say to persons at this time who are emotionally drained or emotionally, feeling really bad? They believe that it's going to be, some people really believe it's going to be the end of the world. Some people really believe, Americans, you know, they think that this is the worst thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, how can I answer that, sir? I mean, I could answer it in various ways. I don't know. It depends. It depends on how you look at things. I mean, because I'm a religious person, I'm going to always look at it from a religious point of view. Not everybody's
Mm.
going to look at it from my point of view. And even within religion, there are other various religions, aren't there? So everybody has their own take on what may happen or what the future is going to be and such. So it's not for me really to impose and to, place on anybody's my thoughts. I just think that it's not a good time. It's an exciting time to live. As far as I'm
Yes.
concerned, it's an exciting time to live. Based on my religious views and from where I look at things from a Christian point of view, because I'm a Pentecostal minister and preacher and such. Obviously, I have a Pentecostal view. That's my worldview of things. And we're living, as far as I'm concerned, we're living at an exciting time.
Yes.
I just think really that people ought not to take it to heart, because it's going to happen. It doesn't matter how distraught we become, doesn't matter how down we are, doesn't matter what steps we take, we can't change now what's going to happen. There's a future ahead of us that is coming. Doesn't matter how much we prepare ourselves to some extent. There's a future that's coming. All we need to do is to prepare ourselves for that future. That's all we need to do. Because if people who are crying and in the West Indian vernacular, cowballing and stressing and screaming and doing everything possible as if it's going to change anything, it's not going to change anything. You're not going to go to bed tonight to wake up tomorrow morning and find it's a different world, or find that, it was just a dream. It's not just a dream. It's reality. And the reality of things is that we've got to prepare ourselves for the here and the now and for the future. Why we prepare our children for the future. We send them to school, we send them to the colleges, to the universities, any other training that's there, because we want them to be in a better position than we were as we were growing up at the here and now. So we just have to prepare ourselves and help each other. I've got to be, if I'm near Kemi or Kima, if I'm near Kima and I'm stressed, Kima should be able to come to me and say, listen, Graham, I'm here to help you. What is it that you need? How can I talk, or how can I help you? What is it that you
Yeah.
need? You don't need to stress that. There are helps. If I'm near Muheed supposed to be able to come to me and help me, and counsel me, and help me to navigate life, because we all have to navigate life.
I don't have a clip of Biden, but Biden made a very good speech when he mentioned about that, something like when we go to vote, we need come on guys, you just like, come on guys, let's be friends, we're all united, we are one people, and just because I vote differently from my neighbor, don't disrespect my neighbor. Biden made a very lovely speech today, I must say, because he's a seasoned politician, and he's at the end of his days, and he was just trying to say, come on guys, let's get together and just come on guys, and he said, come on, let's Miriam, what would you say to people who are feeling very despondent and feeling like, and I mean, Kamala said something today, which was this fight, fight, fight thing, and I don't know, it is boosting a level of hope of fight, fight, fight. Trump was fight, 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 she fight, fight, fight. There need to be this unifying voice, this unifying tone, and I hope it comes from Trump. I must say, this unifying tone. Yeah.
You tell me which part of the world, like, every part of the world, when a political landscape changes, the leader comes, they will give the similar, statement to the country, says, let's unite it and move forward, but at the end of the day, everything is politicized, So the oppositions will never, they will tell, okay, we will support, but they will never go to support that, because they wanted to get the power back. You understood that. So unless there could be a war or something like that, the country is facing a severe war. That time, like say what's happening in Israel.
Yes.
They made up a coalition government. Like what happened when Winston Churchill was there, the Second War. So I think I don't think these are just to comfort, just to say that, okay, I'm a good man, I'm going to lead the country, let's unite. And at the same time, the opposition will say, okay, we will also going to support, like, let's unite and move forward. But it will never happen. They're always going to pull the leg down. That's how
I noticed. Yeah, I noticed Keisha Allen, what she said. We all experience Trump and we endure. So I don't understand why some people are fearful. There's a term in law which is take your victim as you find them, and it is saying some may be extra timorous, very extra, maybe having this fear. So yeah, one has got to be very what should I say, empathetic at the same time. Kima, what's your last word on?
No, yeah, I just think it's a view of the world that we just need to have more of an open mind and realize that regardless of what side of the aisle that you are on, that people have different perspective depending on their background, and ultimately people we all want the same thing, but it's a different way of getting there. So with Camilla and also with Trump, obviously there are different ways, different arguments put forward, but I think ultimately it's about all that daily lives and what's best route to achieve that. So I think it's a matter of just being able to be open and be able to listen and really find some way of a common ground.
Yes. Well, it's as Garry said, it's a very exciting time to be alive, very exciting time to live. I mean, So, Mirat, I want to thank you so much for joining. Let
me tell you one thing is, like,
Yes, please.
Whether the American people have some fear about Trump's administration, or some are excited about his administration, I will tell you, some part of the world, they are a bit worried about their pocket is going to be empty, because what Trump's main this thing is, he don't like the American US money just go to these wars and and this pocketing by these presidents and the prime minister of the respective countries, especially Ukraine. You mark my word, Ukraine, Trump will become very, very different view once he comes into the administration. As well as, like, I hope that I'm really hope that there will be some sort of a solution will come in Gaza, because although you can't give a solution for the two states, but there's some sort of solution of at least to hold the war, in Gaza, it could happen. Trump will work on that. So, other than that, he will never go on a poking and, going like, you don't want to be the scapegoat of the European states that they wanted someone to lead. It's something like in our country, we call it as Billy Boy. Like you put someone to the front and let him take the first bullet, something like that. So
No,
he don't want
you're
to do
right.
that.
You're right because it's a very serious time now. I mean, you got the war which is in Ukraine. Many people are saying Trump said he was going to do it in the first day. I don't know if he meant the first day once he won, or when he reaches January the 20th or the 21st or so. But you can sense I don't know, sense this sort of people are saying, oh, they're going to reach out to Trump and blah 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 because they know he's going to come. So we're hoping that Ukraine and Russia that will be sorted, hoping that Gaza and in the Middle East that will be sorted as well, and try to make a difference with everything for the 4 years that he has, because you can't after that. That's 4 years he has, and rest is that. Anyway, Gary, any last word? And Kima.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to. Well, he did, and he did mention. I wanted to hear Muhid's view both on Ukraine as well as what's happening in Israel, because I do feel there may be some change in the Ukraine. Everybody feels that way. There may be something that may be going on there when Trump begins to make his effects, make his feelings known. But for Israel, I think that that's going to change also. He may push his strength behind Israel and really give Israel what Israel needs or what Israel wants. So, yeah. But apart from that, and what the U.S. now has chosen, it's interesting to see what's going to happen there and how it's going to affect the world. We already know there's one effect. We already know what that one effect is, and that is the interest rate going down here in the UK.
Yes.
And but whatever else other effects may be in the world, I don't know.
Yeah, what we can tell is that the next 4 or 5 years is going to be an exciting time for politics. We've got Kemi there who's going to make PMQ spicy every Wednesday. And now we've got Trump as well. The last couple of years, you could tell politics has been a bit boring, but I think now you'll hear a lot more of what's going on in the world. So I think it's really good time to be paying attention to what's really going on here.
And I just saw something that David Lamis says he dismisses past criticism of Trump as old news. So he's saying that's bypass behind him as well.
So people are predicting that he'll have to go, isn't it? Because of the statement that he made. So we'll see how that goes.
But it's interesting. We're going to watch and see this space and stuff like that. I would like him to stay, as well. But many people are saying that he may need to go. Well, guys, we're going to have to go. Keisha, Kima, I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight as well. And Mured, I want to thank you so much for coming on as well. And Sir Garry, as much as possible. All right. So thank you very much. And see you later, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining those on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok as well. And I just want to say that this Saturday night, this Saturday night on the show, I'll be having some special guests. We're gonna still talk about what should I say, Trump and what's happening in the world. But there's gonna be Tommy Gore, whose father is Doug Gore, and let me just see if I can find the picture here. And here they are. Tudum. Here's the car. Now that is some serious racing there, So Tommy Gore and Sienna Summerball, there's going to be there this Saturday night at 10 p.m. UK time. Tommy Gore father is Doug Gore, and Sienna Summerbell father is David Summerbell, and they'll be here joining me Saturday night. I had them on the show some time ago, and as well just to recap and catch up with them as to the racing. And as you can see, the topic: Jamaican reggae racers shine for Jamaica. Sunday the 9th of November 2024, Saturday the 9th of November 2024. 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST, and also on Sunday night. I'm going to be having Mr. Change with Remiel Mitchell, driving strategic change, a mate of mine. Sunday, November the 10th, and Remiel is into project management, and he's got a business and he's got a story. So we're going to talk about that this Sunday night at 8 p.m. That is 8 p.m. That is my sort of sit down time where we bring in different persons. And one of the things I'd like to talk about a lot is the fact that Black history is not just about many people many years ago or so, but Black history is unfolding right before our very eyes. And that's why I'm going to bring in different persons at different times to join the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much and have a good night and God bless you. Bye-bye.